Welcome to The Brain Changers, a podcast about learning how to revolutionize the way you think and live by mastering your mind. We're your hosts, mother and daughter duo Rebekah and Yvonne King from Moonbeam Monday. Our goal is to empower you to live the life you choose by teaching you how to retrain your brain. Some people tell us it sounds like mind control, and it is, but not the way you might think. This is about you taking control of your own mind rather than letting your mind control you, so you can choose to live a life free from the expectations of others. No matter what you've experienced in the past, you can create positive change and transformation by learning how to master your mind. We know this because we've done it. Between us, we've survived cancer and stroke and eliminated debilitating anxiety and depression. We've turned our pain into purpose through the power of our mind, and we're now here to support and guide you to do the same. In this podcast, we share valuable insights about how your brain works, why you think, say, and do the things you do, how to begin the process of change, and why it's necessary. Because we know that when you change your mind, you change your life. Thanks for joining us. Let's go. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Brain Changers podcast. We are very excited to have you here with us. We are the Brain Changers, Rebekah and Yvonne King. We are the mother and daughter duo from Moonbeam Monday Training and Coaching.
Hi everyone, we are really thrilled to start this journey with you. Our mission is to help people revolutionise the way they think by learning how to retrain their brain so that they can live life on their own terms.
That's exactly right. And today is really about giving you a little bit of an introduction to us, who we are, why we're here, and how did we become the Brain Changers. And to begin with, I guess I can say that we've both been fascinated by the mind for a long time, but for different reasons.
That's right. For as long as I can remember, Beck, I've been interested in why we think and say and do the things we do. I became especially interested in mindset when I began to learn how to trade the financial markets. It required a lot of mental resilience and focus. And I realized then that the way we think, our mindset, can significantly impact our success in the markets and, of course, our success in life also.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I guess it was really, I became more interested in the brain specifically about a few years after I had a stroke. And I was super lucky to recover really, really well. But later on, I began becoming aware of several things that were quite different for me from before I'd had that stroke. And although I'd suffered with depression before that even happened, it got a lot worse for me after that. And I also developed anxiety and I had challenges around impulse control. So I went looking for answers. And none of the so-called experts could help me. And it wasn't actually until you introduced me to a neuro-linguistic programming master coach, Mum, that I began to understand a little bit more about what was actually going on in my brain.
Yeah, so our mutual fascination with the mind eventually led us to studying NLP and hypnotherapy and launching our own business, Moonbeam Monday Training and Coaching, to share our knowledge and expertise.
And it has been quite a ride already. And we have really wanted to launch this podcast since we began. It was one of the first things that was on our list to do. And look, we acknowledge that this is our very first foray into this particular type of forum. We are not experts on recording or podcasts, but we've waited so long already. We know that we have so much amazing information to share. And so we just thought, do you know what? Let's just dive in and get started. We've waited long enough. And this is actually a big part of NLP anyway, isn't it? It's about, taking control, taking charge, making those changes. And so that's what we're doing. We know that we're going to get better, but this is where we're beginning. And I just want to explain very briefly here, because we're talking about neuro-linguistic programming, we're mentioning NLP. I want to just explain briefly what this is and put very simply, NLP is a process which modifies unconscious biases and operates through the conscious use of our language to make changes in our thoughts and behaviors. So we like to think about this as like a user manual for your mind. And essentially, it's about retraining your brain.
Absolutely. Retraining your brain is all about using specific strategies and techniques to alter thought patterns, behaviors, emotional responses, and to achieve a desired outcome. And generally, more often than not, this is a positive outcome,
Mm.
and a far more positive outcome than you may be getting with the way you currently think and do things.
Yes, that's right. And we are going to be taking a deep dive into all things related to the brain. I mean, we've got so much to share. And we're going to do this through this podcast. So it's really going to help you learn how you tick, what's actually going on up here in your mind. Because when you understand how your mind works, you're able to make incredible shifts in your life, incredible changes.
Sure. And, it's also important to note here, Beck, that while some people may need to make or they may want to make really big changes in their life, not everyone will. And that's
Mm.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But even if you want to make small tweaks or small changes, or simply maybe just even understand yourself better and others,
Mm.
this information is crucial to get that understanding and to get the best out of your life.
Yeah, that's a really good point, that one. Of course, we've used NLP and hypnotherapy to make very big changes in our lives, which we're going to tell you about some of those. But we also use NLP and hypnotherapy continually just to tweak things along the way, because we love growth, personal development, and it's important to us that we continue being the best that we possibly can be.
Sure. And what we'd love to do is just share a little about our stories with you, just to give you some context on who we are, how we got to where we are, and exactly why we do what we do.
Yeah, okay. So, look, it's fair to say that we've both had a large degree of self-awareness for quite some time, but more recently, we've both had to take stock of our lives and evaluate exactly what we want, and most importantly, work out how we're going to make that happen. So, we've both been coached by an NLP master, and through that, as well as through our own studies, we've learned how to harness the power of our mind to create these incredible changes in our lives. And for me, the biggest change really was eliminating depression and anxiety. So I lived with depression for over 20 years and later on with anxiety. And it got to the point about 5 years ago where there were days that I could not even get out of bed. So I had a full-time job, I had a life, but there were days where I couldn't even get out of bed. I was stuck under the covers, curled up in the fetal position, and I was absolutely terrified I didn't even really know what, but it was of the future. I was scared of things that hadn't happened, that had happened, that probably wouldn't happen, and I couldn't see past that. And for me, what it felt like was that I had this heaviness all the time. It was like I was in a fog, this fog in my brain. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't make decisions. I would be teary and reactive 1 minute, and then I'd be apathetic the next. And I also knew that I was holding on to a huge amount of sadness and grief and trauma from things that I'd been through in the past. So it was a really, really difficult time for me. But I was lucky enough that you, Mum, actually introduced me to our coach, Rick. And I was lucky that you introduced me when you did. And I truly credit him for saving my life. And then, of course, at your suggestion, and, it's fair to say that I went into this, kicking and screaming a little bit. It's not something that I felt that I had time for, but on reflection, I look at it and go, it's what I needed to do. Did I really not have the time to do it? But at your suggestion, I began studying NLP, simply out of interest. And then, of course, 3 years on, here we are.
Here we are, indeed. Yes, for me, just shortly before my story began, just shortly before the events that you're talking about. For me, it's been about creating an emotional and physical environment to support recovery from stage 3 cancer. Now, I'm sure that there might be many people listening to this today that have been confronted with serious illness or chronic illness. And if that's the case, these people will know the fear of the future that they feel, the uncertainty surrounding their future, perhaps anger and sadness, all of these feelings and emotions. And they can be very hard to deal with any serious illness. And I knew that I had to take positive action to change my life and beliefs to support my recovery. I realised that my mindset and the way I thought about my illness would play a crucial role in my healing process. And through NLP, I learned how to shift my perspective and create a positive, determined mindset that supported and has been supporting my recovery journey.
Yeah. And so here we are now, sharing what we've learned and what we've implemented in our lives to change our lives, and we're sharing that with others. So while I've been coaching people in the professional world for years, just informally through different workplaces, I've now been coaching full time since we launched Moonbeam Monday Training and Coaching. So I do this through private and group coaching, as well as coaching and training in the workplace. And I particularly specialize in helping people eliminate chronic anxiety and overwhelm. And what I love about this is it really is dispelling that myth that anxiety is something you need to learn to cope with or to manage. I was told that for years, not only about anxiety, but about depression. I was told that this is how I was. This is how my brain was wired. It was a chemical imbalance. I just had to learn to live with it. And I am quite bold in my statement in I'm calling that out and saying that is BS. And that is why I am here helping people eliminate chronic anxiety and overwhelm, as well as helping them in other areas as well. Because of course, yes, we're all going to feel nervous or anxious from time to time when the situation warrants it, or we might even feel a bit down or blue, but you needn't live with these disorders and it needn't take over your life.
Also, Beck, for some people, when they hear about what we do, they hear the words mind control. Now, we do talk about mind control, but really it's about you or me taking control of our own mind, not someone else dictating to us and telling us what to do. It's about us taking control of ourselves. And because let's face it, until we become aware, most of us are just walking through life on autopilot. We really, our lives, for many of us, are not planned with goals and purpose in mind. We're just going through the motions.
Yeah, that's right. And we've all received years of conditioning that has many people living in this constant state of stress and overwhelm and anxiety. And when we leave that unchecked, it can have a detrimental effect on the mind and our body as well, causing illness and disease. But learning how to retrain your brain can turn that around. And that's what we're going to be sharing with you in this podcast, The Brain Changes, every fortnight.
Yes, and we also believe in a holistic and collaborative approach to wellness. So we're going to be inviting some fantastic guests on to chat with us who work in similar fields, and they're going to share their field of expertise with us.
Yes, exactly. And we already have some terrific guests lined up, and we're really looking forward to sharing those episodes with you.
So that's it from us for now. Thanks for joining us for the very first time. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Brain Changes. If you have, we'd love for you to do two things for us. Firstly, subscribe to the show so that you never miss an episode. And secondly, please leave us a review so other people can find and enjoy the content that we share on this forum.
Yes, exactly. And of course, you can find us on socials and you can connect with me personally on LinkedIn. Just head to moonbeammonday.com.au and you'll find all the connection points there, or of course, check the show notes. So thank you so much for tuning in to our very first episode. We are the Brain Changers, and remember, when you change your mind, you change your life.
Bye for now.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Brain Changers. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation today. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest episodes. Our mission is to reach as many people as possible to help them revolutionize the way they think so they can change their brain and create profound transformation. Please help us broaden our reach by sharing this episode with someone you know will benefit. And remember to tag us on socials at Moonbeam Monday and leave a review. And remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. We'll catch you next time for another episode of The Brain Changers.